friend would be running for a class office, and he'd ask me to nominate him. And so I would get up very straight-faced and nominate, and people would laugh. I first recognized this as a potential when being 13, 14, 15, people would be asked in class to give a book report, and they'd get up and they would start giggling and looking at their friends. And I said, geez, if I have to get up there, I'm not going to do that ever. So I'd get up and look everybody in the eye and very straight-faced tell them what I was going to say. Most of the time I would make up book reports. And there was some innate timing that I had. It stood me in good stead for a long time. But I kind of recognized it. And in front of the Rotary Club or something, I would be asked to do something, and I'd get up and people would laugh. Never knew what it was, but it worked.
When did you start bringing your guitar on stage?
I had my guitar with me most of the time in high school because I played in the groups, but when I'd stand up, I'd stand by myself and give these speeches. I just combined the two. When we started singing folk songs, I'd make up introductions to the songs and people would laugh. And then pretty soon my brother would say something like, that's wrong. I'd encourage him to speak. Or you introduce a song, and he said, I don't know what to say. I said, write something. So he'd introduce a song now and then. Mostly it was correcting me until the point became that we were equal amount of speaking parts on stage. He would say, first off, he said, you're wrong. Then he'd say, you're wrong and you're stupid. You never do anything right. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Until they became speeches and we would have conversations. And it evolved over a lot of years. It took about a year to make it a comedy team. It was mostly me. And pretty soon his pragmatism worked, and it became a working conversation of disagreement, which was based in part of genuine disagreement that we've had since we could talk to each other, which is frequent things that siblings have. And so we put it onto stage, and it worked. Dickie was a reluctant participant.
When did you start performing with him?
We started, my brother and I, in the trios and quartets we had in high school. We started when we were sophomores and juniors in high school, which meant 1952, 53, 54. We started singing quartets and trios a little bit, and I would be the front and do the introductions and stuff. I felt fairly confident in front of people. And the comedy didn't develop until we were in college in 1958, 57, 58, 59 really, it started to become a comedy team.
When did you start to call yourself the Smothers Brothers?
Midway through the first year of our professional career, which was at Purple Onion in San Francisco in 1959. Our first group, we were called ourselves the Casual Quartet. There was four of us. And a couple other names I can't remember. The Smothers Brothers we reluctantly called ourselves the Smothers Brothers because it just too good. It looked like it was a setup. So when we were a trio in San Francisco in 1959, in April, we had a third member, and we called ourselves the Smothers Brothers and God. And it was billed GAWD. And we thought that was very funny. Our young men of melody, we'd be introduced as the Smothers Brothers and God. God, which is named Bobby Blackmore, lasted about 9 months. And that was maybe only 6 months, 9 months. And it was a little difficult for a third member to put up with the two brothers, which were always arguing. So there was and that gave us the experience of that 6-9 months of professional. He was a pretty good singer. He sang the leads, and my brother and I sang harmonies to him. And once he left, we started as a duet, and we were good enough to sing our leads by ourselves, but it gave us confidence to go on. We gave ourselves 6 months to make it, or we were going to go back to San Jose State and finish our education. And the 6 months has gone on to, at this point in time, around 42 years.
Did you have any idea that it would...
No idea. No idea. At that point, there were so many times we just about broke up or arguments. I figured I was going to try to be a stand-up or a single comedian. But the Kingston Trio were happening at that time. Folk music was a big thing, so we started singing folk music. And it lent itself to stories. It was fairly easy. The guitar and I taught my brother bass. He was just standing there singing, so the club owner said, "He's just standing there singing. Why don't you get him a bass?" So he got a bass and taught him basic notes on it, and that's where that started. And then pretty soon it's a nice prop. It's a very visual act, guitar and bass and two guys singing a few songs and arguing. So that's the essence. It's nothing spectacular, but it was kind of original.